Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our global TV deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how Global TV Group 358 keeps television at the heart of entertainment in Jamaica. Get ready to binge watch the future.
God of my salvation, because the mouth of the sinful and wicked is open. Rastafari. Come with I. Rastaman throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Not a people there. Make a man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Only when man like Marcus Garvey speak, wicked men would I hear. Hear now hear. Instead of that, they only sit aside a rob and cheat, and not first and for make up what I seen to. Make him a throw and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a plan! Make him a throw and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. My favorite man, if Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the day they can sell out Rasta and sell it out and sell out Babylon. They give man show and stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. They give man show and stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. If Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the dead and can sell out Rasta and sell out, I sell out Babylon. Just stop on the price. You might go and stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a black thing, man, throw and stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. You have eyes to see, let him see. You have ears to hear, let them hear. What a prophet must say. President Mandela was in prison for 20 odd years. And he leave from the prison and take the seat of the president. Stone one. Big him and show one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked him and throw a stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Rasta man throw a stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men.
Stibbidim day, stibbidim day, stibbidim day. We in Global TV says certain kind of friend we no keep, and some informer friend we love like we in Global. Bona fake friend and bona tape. We in Global. We not promote them, we not support them. Look at them on the cheek, come here represent for. We in Global TV. Check it.
Good evening, and welcome to the People's Point of View. Thank you all for joining us this evening. As we promised, we'll look at the roar, the continuous roar in the Jamaica Labour Party. But before we do that, we will further look afield tonight on matters concerning Ibrahim Traoré. To my community of party and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, viewers, subscribers, commenters, and trolls, good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. If for me, like Andrew Holness, I would call in sick, like literally. I would not want to face the embarrassment of being able to pass my appraisal at work, Prime Minister. I would really call in sick. Or I would resign with immediate effect and leave them to clean that dirty old toilet, Prime Minister, that you have messed up badly. Sharon Bernard, good evening. Yvonne Johnson, good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Pamela Akola, good evening. Good evening. Gloria Morris, Yvonne Riley, RJ, Nora Harris, Zenith Beckford, Michelle McCoy, Andrea Joan Hamilton Wilson, Paula Shelley, Christine Gilbert, Christine Hypness, Janet Riley, good evening, Paulette Lewis, Renice Nicholson, Sonia Salmon, Annie Jones, Darrett Gordon, good evening, Canadian Gal, good evening, TikTok, good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Trems, good evening, thank you. Is it Malip, Stacy and Levy, Lauren, Queen K, Barris, Carolyn, Phyllis, good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Daphne Jackson, Blue Lagoon, good evening, Marcia Thomas. Good evening, Sophia Hall. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We will go straight to an interview that George Galloway, the veteran politician and broadcaster and a lifetime activist, had with Joseph Okuku, who is a Nollywood filmmaker, an actor. He's also an activist, an author, a writer. He had a sit down with George Galloway and matters to do with President Traoré. We will go straight into that interview. Then after that, we'll come straight back home to the dirty old messy politics of the Jamaica Labour Party and how Andrew Holness have led the country into recession and the Jamaica Labour Party into disarray.
Activist and all-round matinee idol. Joseph, welcome to the mother of all talk shows. It's a great pleasure to meet you at last. As I said earlier, we have made something of a turn to Africa. My interview about Captain Traoré has gone completely viral on all platforms. I hope that you have seen it, but if not, give us your view, in any case, your take on the importance of Captain Ibrahim Traoré and the Sahelian group of presidents with Niger and Mali, and tell me what you think the importance of that for Africa as a whole might be.
So I would thank you first of all for having me, George. Finally, but yeah, I would use the words of one of my brothers who said that Ibrahim Traore is an archetype of revolution, a revolutionary archetype for the 21st century. And I agree and believe that with all my heart. You know, what you see happening in the Sahel is what should have happened in the 50s and 60s, because as far as I'm concerned, what happened in those 50s and 60s when we were told we had independence was basically just charades. It meant nothing because you have a country like France signing
I haven't seen the
something very
recent one.
sinister, like the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization with all the 14 French colonies in Africa, that implied they had to pay the foreign reserve to Banque de France in Paris, and then 85% of it paid, and they were left with 15%, and then they had to go borrow from their own money at a very high interest rate. And so Africans have always had this feeling of being caged in their own skin. We've always had this feeling of still being colonized because we don't get any benefit of an independent nation, you know, from any African country. And then we started seeing all these truths and being revealed. And then all of a sudden you see an African country that suddenly shows up, you know, in the Sahel. You see people like Ibrahim Traore doing some of those things that you can't find other African countries doing. Ibrahim Traore showed up on the scene and now had the audacity to say, look, we are going to nationalize our oil, our gold mines. We are going to do this and do that and do that. And people are like, whoa, these are the kind of things that get you killed. Okay. And then he's doing it and he's getting away with all these things. And so when General Langley did what he did, because Ibrahim Traore has been there since 2022. But remember that the firestorm you see on social media today started when Langley went there to the Congress, and then he was saying that this guy is using the money he's making from gold to protect himself and not to better the life of the people. And then Africans were like, whoa, we've been here before, deja vu. They called the dog a bad name because they want to kill the dog. So we're not going to stay alive and let this happen again, because this is exactly what played out when they took Muammar Gaddafi out. That's when Africans rose up and said, never, ever, ever again. We would not allow this to happen on the continent of Africa. So in a nutshell, what you see happening in the Sahel is the true reflection of what African independence should look like. Independent nations that actually can decide, okay, how they want their destiny to look, what they want their nation to look like, who they want to go into partnership with, you know, and nobody will be able to tell them, no, you can't do that. No, nothing like right of first refusal or anything. They are totally and completely in charge. So in a nutshell, that's what I think is going on in Burkina Faso, and why I believe everybody is right here today to support them.
If you want the performance of stainless steel, the versatility of cast iron, and the convenience of non-stick...
Well, it's a very beautiful nutshell, if nutshell it be, and a succulent picture that you paint and that I paint and Nico House painted just the other night on the Mother of All Talk Shows. This is a government which has decreed that all education will be free from the kindergarten to the university. This is a country that has nationalized its main mineral assets, its precious minerals, principally gold. And the people who used to own Burkina Faso, foreigners who used to own it, are determined not to let it go quietly, aren't they? And you used a very memorable phrase that this is the kind of thing that gets you killed. Well, it got lots of people killed. It got Thomas Sankara killed. It got Patrice Lumumba killed. It got Chris Hani killed. Therefore, the question is, are they going to be able to kill Captain Traore? When I see the crowds outside his presidential headquarters saying, you'll have to kill us first, I'm filled with joy and pride at that. How do you think the rest of Africa feels about that?
Okay, so I'll tell you this, George. It is not, okay, so I love the fact that the crowd gathered around his place and they say, no, you have to kill us before you kill him. But that's not even the protection that Ibrahim has. Okay, that's a good one. And I love it because in the last few weeks, I have been getting some information from sources I trust that a lot of Africans have been trooping into Burkina Faso, asking to be shown what to do to be able to stand and fight alongside Ibrahim Traore. So Burkina Faso is no longer a Sahelian thing. It's not an African revolution movement. That's what you see going on there. But here's why I believe they are not going to succeed this time with Ibrahim Traore. I was explaining this to a South African news network a few days ago. I said, you see, no matter how you feel about your Africanness, we have already been crippled from the start. We are starting from a place of weakness on a race for life. Everybody is about to run, but we are crippled. We're running with one leg, one foot, and the rest of the people have their pair on the mark, ready to go. And then you give a gunshot and we start running on one foot, and the rest are running on the pair. This is what has happened to Africa all along. And I've been saying to people that as much as we want to feel so good about ourselves, as much as it makes for a really good sensual indulgence to think that, yeah, we can stand on our own, you really can't. We need a superpower that can say, I am going to align with you guys, okay? I really have some sort of enmity between me and your real enemy, which is the colonial powers. And if I can align with you, I can help you.
You know, something beautiful is happening that I have been saying since around 2010. Africa will not be able to rise freely without an alignment with a superpower Russia and a superpower China, who can provide us nuclear security, which is the only thing this bulldog called the United States, United Kingdom, and France is afraid of. It is finally happening.
You to decouple from the colonial powers. That has been my prayer for so many years, George, and that happened recently between Russia and the West, because the West kept going to Russia. You remember, of course, I've seen your show and I've talked about this for so many years about what happened between Russia and Ukraine, how that so many people are ignorant of what really went down, how that you told someone, I am not going to move 1 inch east, and then all of a sudden you've taken almost all the countries that were there that belong to that east. And now you expect the guy to be happy when you have come now right to his border, and then you think he's going to be okay. So when Russia saw all of that, Russia already knew and knows that the biggest thing you can, the worst thing you can ever do to the colonial West is to take away the feeding bottle of the Africans, of African wealth from their mouth. And so Russia decided, you know what, maybe this is just time for me to start helping these guys to decouple from the colonial West. And that's exactly what happened. France has been getting our African countries. George, if you have time, I'll tell you this now. There was a news article that came out in 2017 by a German newspaper. According to that news article, they gained access to an information which they published verbatim about 440 billion euros, or maybe 500, was being paid to France every single year by African countries. I'm talking 14 French colonies in Africa. 14 colonies paying this to France every single year. And that's why Jacques Chirac, the former president of France, said, and I quote, he said, we have to be honest and acknowledge that the big part of the money in our banks.
These real-time translation earbuds are taking the world by storm. They let you speak and understand over one.
comes precisely from the exploitation of the African continent. And in 2008, he followed it up with this. He said, without Africa, France will slide down in the rank of a third world power. This is buttressing the fact that without Africa, the colonial West is going to be in a big mess, especially France, which I regard as the worst of all the colonial powers in the world. So when Russia showed up, guess where it started from? It was from the Sahel, one of the French colonies, and that was Mali. And then after Mali, it was Burkina Faso. And then after Burkina Faso, it was Niger. And now
Lachlan, I can't believe after so many information, you're still carrying that narrative on Russia. Russia has never in history invaded any country for resources. You cannot provide that in history. Do not spread that propaganda in my comment, because Russia never invaded Ukraine because of resources. It's not true. Don't spread this American propaganda here. It's not true. That's not the reason why Russia invaded them. And everybody know that's not true. It's not the truth. Don't say it.
And now let me break it down to the level people can understand. Let me tell you what really happened. So as these things are happening, Russia is providing logistics to make all this transformation happen. The true independence we're having in Africa today is all in the Sahel. And after that, Russia now goes into a security agreement with them. And when you come into a security pact or agreement with Russia, it simply means that when you get attacked, Russia is going to have to do something about that. So whoever is coming to attack you must take into cognizance the fact that Russia is on ground. And so you are attacking them, you are also attacking Russia. And Russia will bring their full military might in response to whatever attack you mete out to these countries. In between 2023 and 2024, Russia sent about 100 boots on ground after sending a bunch of military weapons, hardware, and stuff like that to Burkina Faso. And guess what? When the Kursk incursion, which I call Ukrainian misadventure, that was meant to distract Russia from its mission in Africa, when that happened, Russia had to cut down on the number of troops that were in Burkina Faso and quickly send them to Kursk. And which means that whatever the West did through Ukraine worked by distracting Russia. So they took some of the guys to Kursk to go and fight alongside the North Koreans and the other guys who were fighting to rescue that country and at the or that region. So at the end of the day, they have now fewer troops, Russian troops on ground that are there to protect Ibrahim Traore. That is apart from the guys that are very close to him in his protection. Guess what? At the end of the day, the mission of this troop, 100 troops that Russia sent, was not only just to provide security from terrorism in the country. They were also meant to train the Burkinabe soldiers. So thankfully, a lot of soldiers have been trained in intelligence, in counterintelligence or counterinsurgency and all kinds of stuff. And those ones were able to work with the little contingent that Russia had on ground to be able to foil all the many numerous assassination attempts that I'm pretty sure you must have heard of, George, against this young man.
Sure.
In the past, this kind of thing never goes on. There's no way you will be an Ibrahim Traore in the 1960s and 70s and 80s and you will still be alive by this time. It is because the game is now being played differently. And so being able to catch him and kill him is going to be an uphill task for the colonial powers that be today.
Well, on Wednesday, I'll be in Moscow, and I'll be at the Victory Parade in Moscow on the 9th. And one of the guests of honor there, with President Xi Jinping, for example, and many others, will be Captain Traore. I hope very much to get a chance to talk to him. I've got to tell you that long ago, I used to frequently be in the frontline states in the fight against apartheid in South Africa, alongside the African National Congress, as was then. And President Putin was also there. He knows Africa. He was on the front line. I have a great picture of him with the hero leader Samora Machel, the leader of the Mozambican liberation movement, Frelimo. I am certain that Putin is more seized than any other Russian leader has ever been about the importance of Africa. One last question, Joseph, if I may. There are many derelict leaders of African countries. Let me just pick the Aunt Sally, the president of Cameroon, who's been the president for 40 years, who is a walking zombie, a corpse, who lives in France, comes back for his rigged elections. The days of that kind of government, if I can call it a government, must be numbered now that Africans can see what a real leader looks like in Captain Traoré.
Thank you so much, George, for this question. Brilliant question. And this takes me to why what is happening with Burkina Faso, Traoré, and the Sahel is very, very, very critical and very important. You see, there's a psychological dimension. There's a psychological element to this. The psychological element is,
when heading out at night, you must carry this small yet powerful item with you. This is a key-shaped flashlight that
if Africans continue to see what Ibrahim Traoré is doing, first of all, let's start from Mali. So the psychological element played a lot of roles in what happened in Mali. When Mali broke with the colonial powers, everybody expected that they were going to Goita, Assimi Goita, was going to be taken out of the way within just a matter of weeks or 1 month, because this is what we're used to. Psychologically, we have resigned to that fate, and that didn't happen. And so the boldness for Burkina Faso to happen was there, and so Burkina Faso happened. And when that happened and nothing happened, Niger Republic also happened. You see what is going on. Now, let's come to the economic dimension. The economic dimension is that Africans are now beginning to look at what is going on there. These countries, especially Niger, Burkina Faso, we were told were the poorest in the world. All of a sudden, we're hearing and seeing the economic index coming out from these places. They are looking so good. Now, the population in all the other African countries are suddenly going to begin to wonder, why is it that these people with the meager natural resources they have are able to do so much, and you guys are here telling us stories every day, sending pundits to television and radio stations to come and tell us why we should be as poor as we are today? Look, for instance, what the guy you mentioned in Cameroon, 42 years, George, 42 years in power, 42 years. And the French love him so much. In fact, the guy stays in France while elections happen, what they call elections, happen in Cameroon. So he is meant to stay there until he dies, just like Yadema died in power and his son took over. I'm pretty sure they probably have a son, a crackhead son somewhere, who is going to take over from him the moment he dies. This is what the French is showing Africans today. So African country presidents are so uncomfortable as we speak now. This thing that is happening in the Sahel unsettles them greatly. So even they themselves wish for Ibrahim Traoré to be defeated more than the colonial powers wish him to be defeated. They are not genuinely in love with what is happening there. It is the African population that are so, completely happy and blown away by what is going on and fully in support of it. Because these presidents, Sahel states are making them look like fools. The Sahel states now is beginning to make them look like liars, because all the lies they've been telling, for instance, look at Ibrahim Traoré. Under his presidential initiative on agriculture, do you know what this young man has done? This guy has brought a lot of innovation into agriculture. If you see, he introduced the cotton production. Burkina Faso used to be the biggest cotton producer in the whole of Africa. They went down to number 2. Today, they are racing up to that same number 1 because of the initiative. George, let me tell you, you may not know this, but you need to know this now. Ibrahim Traoré has committed to build at least 5,000 kilometers of paved road every year. But guess what? Until the 2022, when he took over power, Burkina Faso had only 3,600 kilometers of paved road. 3,600 for such a nation with all the wealth, the gold, the cotton, and everything they have. only 3,600. This young man is now building 5,000 every year, and he has his nation's population, the youths, engaged in this project. So, in a nutshell, whether a nutshell or no nutshell, let me explain to you in summary. The guys that you call presidents across Africa are very, very scared, because if what is going on in Burkina Faso and the Sahel states in Niger Republic is going to continue, where Ibrahim Traoré takes over 2 gold mines and nationalizes them. Gold mine that were supposed to be sold for $300 million, he got for $80 million, nationalized it, and now the wealth is going to now stay with the people rather than go to the corporations and then to all the other colonial powers. If he does that, the same way that Niger has also taken a uranium mine and nationalized it, you see that more money is going to be going into their coffers. And these small countries will suddenly begin to make a nation like Nigeria that claims to be giant look like an ant. This is what they are so scared of, and it is going to happen because we are seeing the result right now. I'm telling you that these guys are very, very, very uncomfortable, and we could care less. All we want is let Africa be free. Let's come into an equal agreement. If you want to have business with me, discuss with me. Look at the guy called Yahya Jammeh, the former president of Gambia. I have a real life video because there's a video I put out in 2019 on my YouTube channel, Joseph Okuku. It is called the Gang of 1884. If you look at that video, I have a real life video testimony from Yahya Jammeh talking about why they removed him from power. George, these guys were promising him that the petroleum and all the gold and everything in his country, that they were about to take it over and mine it, and that he was going to be given 5% royalty from it. 5%. And the guy was like, are you crazy? And they told him, Mr. President, you should be happy we are offering you 5%, because there are not more than 3 African countries that actually get more than 3% royalty. And I can tell you Nigeria is probably one of them. You can imagine, how can you have natural resources, minerals, oil, that give you multiples of trillions of dollars, and you give the owner nations only 3%, and 5% is the max. And that's what they offered him. And when he said no, they kicked him out. Qatar today, George, has only natural gas. Natural gas in Qatar is what they've used to turn that place into a living heaven on earth. But in Imo State alone in Nigeria, if you know the amount of gas deposit in Imo State, not the only state, in Imo State, that's apart from oil, which we are 5th largest exporter of. If you know the amount there, you'll be wondering, why are we living the way we are living? It is because of these lopsided, satanic colonial agreements that have left Africa pauperized forever. We have come to a point where something has shifted in the atmosphere. There is a massive shift in consciousness, and it is both historic and generational. So we are taking advantage of it and saying enough is enough. Africa must be for Africa. And if you want to do business, we don't want to exist alone. We don't want to be just only for Africa. There's no way Africa can exist alone. We need partners in the West. We need partners in Europe, in America. But we want to have equal agreement, a gentlemanly partnership that says, you take 40, I take 60 because I'm bringing the hardware and all of this, or you take 30, I take 70, that kind of stuff. And not to be giving us royalties of 0.3 and 0.1 like the wife of the president of Sierra Leone was complaining about the other day. The woman said, look, these people are giving us 0.00001. That's why Sierra Leone is like a dump ground. 0.0001. So you make 1 trillion and the country gets about $100,000 or maybe $1 million out of their natural resources. They have one of the largest deposits of gold in the whole of West Africa. This is the wife of a sitting president saying it, not just Joseph Okuku. We have come to that point where things are either done right or they are not done at all. And Africans have had it. They are even ready for war now, as long as they reclaim their stolen sovereignty. Sorry for taking too much of your time.
Joseph, I told them you were a star, and you definitely proved me right. Captain Traoré, the threat of a good example. Thanks for joining us on the mother of all talk shows. That's it.
Right. That was quite a bit of information. But before I turn to Jamaica, let me respond to Lachlan. Russia, the country, sat in the Berlin Conference that divided Africa. Russia, though, has never claimed or colonized any part of Africa. On the contrary, Russia has supplied army and its men to assist in many African countries, South Africa, one of them, Cuba, and others, to fight off Western imperialism. To date, you cannot say Russia has invaded Africa or any other country for its resources. If you want to go on and spread an American propaganda that Russia invaded Ukraine for its resources, fine, but I won't allow it to get away on my platform, because if you don't understand how the American hegemon works, and if you don't understand that the cause of the war in Ukraine is because of the Americans breaking the deal they have with the Russians after the dismantling of the Soviet Union. The deal was not for the Americans to encroach west of Germany, if you do not understand, and the Americans keep encroaching. Do not spread those propagandas on my platform. This is not a place for American propaganda, to be honest with you. America has not done good in the world. America must go quietly. Right. We will turn to Jamaica and the Jamaica Labour Party and its miserable woes, because the Delano Seabright and the Christian Tavares war is turning up a notch. What the leadership of the party ought to do is to do a runoff and settle the business, because Samuda and those on the ground is prepared to work with a Seabright or whatever he's called. But Wholeness deciding to say, over my dead body. So there is a major standoff at the moment over Carl Samuda's seat. It is not the only standoff, but in that one, Andrew Holness is trying to swing himself around. The Mayor Feder debacle as well seemed to take more of another twist, because over Granny City, they say, somebody else put them foot in the race, somebody more popular than Feder, this Christopher Henry. But Joel has Mike Henry's support. Same rickety-tickety down in Manchester with Ardley Shaw, quite not know what is going on down there. Rhoda Mike Crawford as well. Things no look so brilliant, because you know she lost all her council seat them to the point where she did cry on stage. We don't know if Rhoda was being set up to fail or Rhoda is just a JLP failure. We don't know if Rhoda is just an ordinary JLP failure or Rhoda is being set up to fail. But I find it troubling how confident, thanks Cathy, how confident the Prime Minister was and still is of his third term. But the most important part, Prime Minister, in achieving the third term, you can't even get across that bridge. That's the Mike Henry may go independent. Really? What me want if what the man the name? Carl Samuda. If the thing cannot be settled, if Andrew Holness is holding out and don't want to settle the thing, I want Carl Samuda to do the honorable thing. Switch to the People's National Party, cross the floor before the general election. Because that would also half wounded Andrew more than how wounded him is. Western Europe and the United States has been the worst abuser of African independence with the help of corrupt African and Caribbean politicians, Christopher. The whole of them is the same bunch of sluss. But, Andrew, honest to God, at this point, I would support your resignation. What I would not support, Andrew Holness, is them pushing you out. Is them pushing you out. I would not support them pushing you out because them to make you decide if you don't want to mash up the party, but them not to stop you from mash it up. Me disagree with them. That's all. But if you want to get up like a shame and decide, say, all right, I've done enough damage. There's no more damage left for me to do other than the egg that I will receive on my face on the night of election. So, me can pack up and go on. No, I will support that. But if the Gang of Five is formed against you, and why I believe the Gang of Five argument is because Delroy Chuck has came out with an attack on an agency that is within your office. It's like we're out of track or counting with the different spat of war in the Jamaica Labour Party. And this goes from the cabinet right down, because the issue with Delroy Chuck coming out and attacking the ECJ, which is in the Prime Minister's office, as the Minister of Justice, a cabinet minister, who ought to have understand the ministerial code, then you would want to have a discussion at cabinet about making sure the Prime Minister with the ECJ and the Ombudsman in his office, making sure that the ECJ provide the relevant information to the public. But what Delroy Chuck rather did was went over to Cliff Hughes and splatter. So that alone tell me, because his name was called in the Gang of Five, that was an attack on the Prime Minister. What makes it confusing is that ECJ is saying something different from what Delroy Chuck is saying. Because what Delroy Chuck told us is that there is a particular person appointed as the ombudsman within the ECJ. The ECJ is saying not so. All commissioners constitute the ombudsman. So that confusion is left for Delroy Chuck to either come and double down or give us clarity, or the office, the ECJ, needs to provide us the information if there is really someone who has been appointed to carry out the task. What the whole ECJ ombudsman issue is showing is the knee-jerk reaction and approach of Andrew Holness, because all it is, Andrew wanted to destruct the office because he had the office vacant for way over a year before he changed the law, after Michelle Charles was disciplined or penalized, whichever way you want to call it, by Donna Parchment Brown, following some corrupt practices deployed during the 2020 general election. And when Donna Parchment Brown tenure came to an end, Holness refused to renew Donna Parchment Brown, as well as refused to reappoint someone else to the office. Not until the Prime Minister was tackled over the general election that the court blocked him from postponing again. Then the Prime Minister was forced to put the Ombudsman office back in place. But rather than just reappointing someone to the standalone office, the Prime Minister and Delroy Chuck came to Parliament with an act and subsumed that office into the ECJ, which is already in the office of the Prime Minister. And see all of the tear down are going, you know, the election machine, the election adjudicator, is whatever you want to call it. Everything that this government is doing, you can see the level of control. And it is confusing because as an incumbent government, they're not as an incumbent government who is confident of a third term, who definitely wants a third term. It's May now. So say the rest of May, June, July, August. This government have about 4 months to general election. And an incumbent government is silent. An incumbent government have a positioning problem. I've never heard this before, Andrew Holness, that an incumbent government is not confident in going to the polls with those 48 people that gave you that whooping majority. That's another admission of failure, you know, Prime Minister. We may not hear nobody talk about. That is another admission of failure. Or if it's not an admission of failure, Prime Minister, it's all-out dictatorship of the party. As you can see, the breakaway that is happening between you all and Carl Samuda, which the Carl Samuda and the Mike Henry situation, if Andrew Holness press along with what he's doing, could turn very nasty. Because these two areas got very violent and well-armed laborites in these two constituencies. You can't take a bloodbath right here now, Prime Minister. The dictatorship of the party, Prime Minister. It is why a lot of us, you know, in this country and in the diaspora has fallen out of grace with your Prime Minister. We have realized the narcissistic dictator tendencies that you have. It is the very reason as well, Prime Minister, that the Jamaica Labour Party base, cabinet, delegate, and everybody has fallen out of grace with you. And you know, sister, the more you push with your dictatorism, and the more the Jamaica Labour Party are disintegrate, Prime Minister. When you go wake up and say, this a destroy both the party and the country. I wonder if Holness has been paid to destroy the Jamaica Labour Party. Yeah, Andrew? I wonder if you are being paid. Because we know Bill Gates paid to destroy the country. We're aware of that. What we're asking, who paid to destroy the Labour Party? Because we know Bill Gates paid to destroy the country. But we want to know who pay you for destroy the Labour Party. Because you're doing a fine job, you know, Prime Minister. Me not tell a lie. You're doing a fine job at it. But the Jamaica Labour Party then don't listen to me. You say to me a fool, and you say to me ghetto, and me yaba yaba, me chaka chaka. People don't take what me say serious. I have been begging the Jamaica Labour Party since the local government of last year. You must remove Andrew Holness in 6 months. Otherwise, it will be a catastrophe going into a general election with him. Are you all seeing it now? Are you all seeing that when I was asking you from last year, March, you must remove Andrew Holness. You have 6 months to replace Andrew Holness. Because I told you, you must replace him before the general conference. Give that new leader time at the general conference to cement himself with the base of the party. And it will give you a better footing going into the general election that the Prime Minister is now afraid to call. But the Prime Minister ought to know that if he doesn't call the election, the Constitution will call it, and he will have to contest it. You can drop the bag and run left to give somebody in a Prime Minister. Thank you, Kathy. You can drop the bag and run left it, give somebody. But if them never move you, then they will have to go over the cliff with your Prime Minister. Give us a follow on TikTok if you're new to our platform, please. Give us a follow, please, and continue to top up the screen. The Prime Minister will all be going over the cliff with you. You have taken the country to the cliff edge. You have taken the party to the cliff edge. And while you continue to double down, Prime Minister, that under your teeth and fingers, Delano Sivrite can't get the seat, that is going to spark a bloodbath in St. Andrew, Prime Minister. Feather is very unpopular. I know my sister Cliff sister. Feather is very unpopular in Clarendon. I hear Clarendon people asking you to come down there, come quell the problem where you create. Love and how you do. You have not seen, Prime Minister, what your dictatorship has done to the Jamaican Labour Party. What it has done, Prime Minister, is leave it unelectable at the moment. What will further happen after the general election, particularly if you do not step down gracefully 24 hours after that great whooping to come, there will be a further disintegration in the Jamaica Labour Party where the delegates and the base will even splinter further, Prime Minister. It will be worse than the Eddie Seaga death of the Jamaica Labour Party. You know the death that Eddie Seaga took the Jamaica Labour Party to? You are on that journey, Prime Minister. But what will cement it, if you, after that great whooping on that morning after the election, decided to stay on as the opposition leader for that $1 million salary, it will be a bloodbath in the Jamaica Labour Party. I mean, fire stick wouldn't be able to separate you all, isn't it? But one thing, Prime Minister, we can certainly say, whether it be your leadership of the country or your leadership of the party, they have been dismal and disgraceful. Thank you very much for being here with us this evening on the Global Television Group. Lovely to have your support, even though over YouTube it look like something wrong with them finger. I mean, I have no time for take no hammer, lick nobody upon them finger right now for them say I. Me just leave them. If them want to use them finger, them use it. If them don't want to use it, them don't want to use it. It don't really matter to me anymore. Anyway, my peeps, come here run so early. What else there for me talk about? A oldness, disgrace. Me did come here fit mind the Prime Minister business tonight because Mulvina mind them business these days, you know. Mulvina is minding them business these days. But we ought to still continue to call on them though for clarity on the ombudsman issue. Because either Delroy Chuck tell lie, create mischief, or there's some secrecy surrounding what is going on at the ECJ and the office of the ombudsman. We have to ask the question, is Andrew Holness fixing up things for rig the election? And Prime Minister, I can ask us about rig election. It is clear now, we know, Prime Minister, that we can ask you the question. Getting that majority in 2020, did you rig that election, Prime Minister? The video with the police and the UK lady. No. If you haven't sent it to me, Cathy, why do I hate Andrew? You want me to explain to you why I hate him? Because he claimed to have come from humble beginnings. He has promised us a lot. He has promised to share a lot with us. And he has stolen more from us than he would share with us. I don't mind being bad man. Bad man is a balance to good man. You don't see him graduate with degree. I graduate with degree as well too, you know, Bobby. Have you graduated with a degree? I have degrees as well too, Bobby. The Prime Minister is not the only one that sits there. I did not sit online and wrote my degree, Bobby. I actually went to the classroom. I actually sat in exam class and wrote 3 questions, answered 3 questions in 3 hours, and got first class on them, Bobby. So I don't really need to grudge the Prime Minister who went to war with the University of the West Indies and threw them out of the New York building because the University of the West Indies in Jamaica refused to give him an honorary doctorate, and Audrey have to use her contacts with Delaware State University to get him a doctorate. But this recent graduation, though, that the Prime Minister has, this title, even though the course is a degree in Doctor of Law and Policy, the Prime Minister's real title, though, is Andrew Holness, DLP, not DR Andrew Holness. You all understand it the different way. Even if it's a philosophy, that degree, that his recent graduation, does not bear him a DR title. It bears him the DLP title, Doctor of Law and Policy. All right? And degree is kind of new to Uno and Andrew. A long time people have degree. But yes, anyway, Andrew is not the only one who's had a degree. I know I cannot stop him from win, just like how we can't stop him from thief, neither. But we hope one day he will be stopped, Bobby, isn't it? You know, I wonder if you're related to Mandela Chent and Professor Chent, Bobby. Hmm? You're related to Mandela Chent and Professor Chent? Because I would you see them over here because there's not much of a talking point. You can't talk about anything other than bad mind, Bobby. Yes, the Prime Minister's title is DLP, not DR, Doctor of Law and Policy. Andrew Holness, and DR comes before your name, Dr. Andrew Holness, but the DLP comes after. So it's Andrew Holness, DLP. All right? The DLP doctor. But listen, it's not that I'm attacking the Prime Minister and his success, you know. Oh, that's not a problem for me. My problem is, how could it be the easy jerk? How you do? That this Prime Minister, the chief executive for your country, for your organization, the chief executive for your organization is doing a full-time degree and he's running several companies. How much time do you think that chief executive would have after paying him millions to spend in your corporation when he has his own to look after while he's studying at night? We know that Andrew is gay. The world know that I am gay, Bobby, but how it get into Andrew don't want me? I don't know how did it get to that? I I don't think that was any part of the discussion. So are you admitting that the Prime Minister is gay? Thank you for that. You saw no mouth. You saw no goat mouth. Lord Jesus. Boy, I'm sorry for the labor rights them. I'm trying to get you all to speak about something constructive. If you can't speak about where the party is going, speak about where the country is. Speak about where the country is going. Don't have to always dive. Him don't want you, leave him alone. Can't tell say you're a Batman as well, Bobby. Because otherwise it wouldn't come over here with the bullshit what we not talk about. If Juliet don't want him, what may I do with him? I'm me brighter and more classier than Juliet. Come on now, Bobby. I never that we are talking about, you know. So I don't know how you carry the conversation there. So we're talking about the finger of your Prime Minister. We're talking about the dunceness and the dictatorship and the lying and the failed promises of your Prime Minister. You never realize I said that. Can you spell bread, Bobby? Where have you ever seen a Prime Minister in our country run so much different department and agency, Bobby? Why you can't talk about them something there? What is there for anybody bad mind oldness over? That's the older we would than thief. As so much I would than thief and wicked and lie in the country, because that's the only thing for bad mind the Prime Minister over, and thief more than we, he lie more than we, and all of them something there. Can you spell bread, Bobby? Write bread in the comment for me. Or spell car. I mean, if you type BMW, and spell car or spell bread. My blood clot. They move me access. Whoa! Spell bread. No, so they block me by TikTok. Me need to behave myself. Violation, sexual exploitation and gender-based violence. Kiss my blood clot. Sexual exploitation and gender-based violence is what I've been blocked on TikTok for. Not if I go up on any of my other platform on TikTok tonight, because I'm soon done. TikTok can't. We not want to tell TikTok, we wouldn't tell them right here now anyway, but never mind. Who gives a todger? Why the labor? The labor right them. To me don't want Andrew. To me tell you say me don't want Andrew no block me. Hey, whoa, Jesus, make a come guard me bed. No, sir. Sexual exploitation and gender-based violence. How would that come from people? No, sir. Them people are not ramp. Blary bread, buster bread. You see, anytime I ask labor right to spell bread, some boy they can spell bad mind though, but they can't spell bread. Dirty old bunch of buster rights. Whoa! I'm not looking and see for the now go see me on TikTok a morning. Listen here, a 7 TikTok channel me have now, you know. So when the work even become harder, yeah. A 7 a 7 TikTok channel me have now. Bobby couldn't take it tonight at all. Yes, I that them do all the while, Colleen. And the labor right, them can't take it, them report me. Them report me for sexual exploitation and gender-based violence. Don't really know what that is. Anyway, I really don't know what that is. But the heat, it is when the heat is on them, this is what they do. Because there's no talking point for the Jamaica Labour Party, to be honest with you. Absolutely no talking point, because the Prime Minister is leading so dismally and disgracefully that the only thing them can come and do is, haggling on a pipe side and rubbing at the mud. Then when the mud dry upon him, go upon the cheek, go scrub it off, and by your look upon him, that the pipe side and rub again is the mantra of the Jamaica Labour. That's why I call them Labour right. I call them Buster Rights. Because them a hug. Grunt is the only thing what JLP good for. They can do better than grunt. It is why them no learn to have a conversation up until today day. Then if you can't spell bread, when the Prime Minister say, I want to cause COVID, can I go shop, go buy big jar of oil, 2 pounds of flour, chicken parts and chicken back and quarter bread and half stick of butter. And one squeeze a Colgate or one roll of tissue, said the Prime. Yes, I saw him insult labor rights. Just like how him say, una stray dog. Just like how him wife say, una live in a dumpster. Because when you elect a government cannot speak, a leader cannot speak on behalf of one side of the nation or speak to one side of the nation. If PMP a stray dog, Labour a stray dog to the entire Jamaica, a stray dog. If PMP live in a dumpster, the entire Jamaica live in a dumpster too. Is it not? And them say they want 3rd term. Anyway, and them sound a bad mind, them sound a stray dog, but them still a go come on the yard, come beg for the vote. Tell me if I'm not America, them be. The same America will say, look pan poor China, where we have to borrow from them to spend back the money with them. Damn fool. Big mouth, broke pocket, America. Big mouth, broke pocket, Jamaica. Listen here. Holy Power grow up with 1, 2, 3, 4 and holy power women round with. Like how the Prime Minister said, a 3 mother him have. But what our 1, 2 or 3 mother does not teach us to do is to teach from bad mind like the Prime Minister. Because the Prime Minister dropped the business of the country because everybody around him a doctor. Dr. Nigel Clark, Dr. Christopher Tofton, Dr. Harris Chang, Dr. Kevin Blake, Dr. Audrey Sewell, Dr. Bobby Montague, and Dr. Bitch and Dr. Fart. And the Prime Minister dropped your job of running the country that you pay him millions for, that he raised his salary by millions. And what did the Prime Minister do? Hop off and say, I want to turn doctor too. That is what you paid for. And then I can ask me why I don't like coolness. Now say, Bobby, you shouldn't wait to get the answer, but you're run gone. Come in, no how no ask people question, and then when they answer it, you no get in a hissy fit. We need to train. We need to get to know a trained dog where to detect when a hissy fit a command. So a dog can teach you to sit down and breathe and don't make the hissy fit get over. Uno, the Jamaican Labour Party, who now go out pan base, go support Andrew Holness, and then every day on a run come our platform, come report with and tell we say we bad man. Why you don't go help the Prime Minister fill up the empty auditorium them? Why you don't go help the Prime Minister ring bell 2 o'clock in the morning like rolling calf labor rights and leave with page alone? When the woman never telling us say hungry belly picking it up off of people yard. Me say if when the woman never telling us say a hungry belly people picnic tap off of people yard, why not always off ya? We sweet to no over ya. I mean, no go where me no want it, you know. And me no go where me no like people. But no have upbringing. Because we will have upbringing with people, parents tell we say, no got people gun yam, got people yard gun yam. No go tap off of people yard. No go walk about labor rights, bust rights. And got people yard. Wanna do off ya. Uno know nobody off ya no like uno. What uno do off ya? Anyway, met the Buster Rights them. Go on about their business tonight. What channel am I gonna come on tomorrow? Producer Wayne or Advanced Potential. You see, you all give me I have choices. Labor rights, isn't it? Buster Rights! When it comes to TikTok, I have choices. Where do I come on tomorrow? Producer Wayne or Advanced Potentials? With me if you come on tomorrow on TikTok, Advanced Potential or Producer Wayne? Me I go show them say me have tantamount of TikTok to make sure them report me night and day. You see on election night? You see on election night? A 3 TikTok page me a report pan and 3 YouTube. Me don't know what I go do, you know. I don't know what the labor rights. Okay, me go come and Producer Wayne tomorrow on TikTok. I don't know what the labor rights them I go do because that night will be a broadcasting blockade. That night, Andrew Holness, will be a broadcasting blockade. Every platform, all of me YouTube, all of me TikTok them, I go run election night, Prime Minister. And the morning after, Prime Minister, you know, it won't be a sitting broadcast. It will be a standing in the studio broadcast, Prime Minister, because there will be so much to go around and so much to mumble fluff about, because we have to go old people, we have to go pull people off of the bridge, we have to go pull people off of the light wire, we have to go pull people out of the river, and all of them things there. So it's going to be a busy morning, Prime Minister. That morning after the general election. Yes, You know that general election that you cannot call. But when Prime Minister, the Constitution calls it, I don't think Mark Golden needs to even sound the trumpet anymore, Prime Minister, do you? No trumpet, no need. Mark G would have said, call it, Andrew, call it. And I, man, will sound the trumpet. But I don't think Mark Golden really needs to sound the trumpet anymore. The slow death of the Jamaica Labour Party. Without a workable intensive care, you all just stand there and watch the Jamaica Labour Party dying. Because the Jamaica Labour Party, likewise the country, is being held hostage by a petulant dictator, Andrew Michael Holness, DLP. Thank you and good night from Global TV. See you all tomorrow.
Oh, thy peace, God of my salvation, because the mouth of the sinful and wicked is open. Rastafari. Come with I. Rastaman throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Not a people there. Make a man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Only when man like Marcus Garvey speak, wicked men would I hear. Hear now hear. Instead of that, they only sit aside and rob and cheat, and not first and four. Make up what I seen to make him a throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a plan! Make him a throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. My favorite part: if Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the day them can sell out Rasta and sell it out. I sell out Babylon. They give man throw one stone, and they bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. They give man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. If Rasta make a progressive move, wicked men are red. How they want to see the dead that can sell out Rasta and sell out. I sell out Babylon. You might throw a stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a black thing! You might throw a stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. You have eyes to see, let him see. You have ears to hear, let them hear. What a prophet must say. President Mandela was in prison for 20 odd years. And he leave from the prison and take the seat of the president. Stone one. Big man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Oh, what a black big man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men. Rasta a man throw one stone, and it bring a bad feeling to all wicked men.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows, but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action. So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.